Back on track.
Alright, so lots of stuff through that back door, as it turns out. Going the South Frostum Road.
Time to dance. Dug in their heels this time. Cheerleader cycle.
Oh. Target amplifier is new. That sounds like perhaps previously they were just giving shields, whereas now they're not only giving shields, but making whatever is getting shielded deal more damage as well. Let's get Luna over here. And I think name of the game will remain... It's really not a backstab? Hold on. Are you serious? Looks a lot like a backstab to me. Okay, that's enough to get rid of... no, it's not enough to get rid of that cheerleader, actually. Okay, well, if we switch over to red... That was very inefficient. Still John, right? We're doing so many of these test runs where they're giving us customized abilities. It's like, do we still have that? I don't know. Yeah, then we line this up. Should get rid of one of the cheerleaders, and I think a second breach is unlikely to hit. So let's instead, if we can, move in. So we can hit you with a spark, although we can probably instead try to make the backstab happen. I'm not sure if spark backstab is even a thing, to be honest with you. And might we be able to sneak in? Yeah, we can do a second spark if we don't try to go in for the backstab, so that's probably worth doing. Did the sword just go rut-bro? It really sounded like it for a second there. Ooh. It's a lot more enemies, in fact, of several varieties. Okay, these cluckers are going to be frustratingly hitting us from afar. So I think we just get rid of one of them. And then we'll focus on this creep, although maybe, tell you what, I think we leave the creep alone. I think we go for the other clucker with red. Is probably preferable. Does he even get into backstab range? Is it gonna be worth it? Yeah, at that point, we might as well just be walking. So then we go... let's go this first. And this. Room for additional sparks? I'm afraid not. Suppose that'll have to do. Oh, after you go after Luna. Did you destroy Luna? You destroyed Luna. Now it's personal. Luna, please exact some revenge. And we will as well. Who needs the jaunt? We're overkilling this guy. This creep. Get out of our town. I agree. Yeah, she doesn't last long, unfortunately. We try to bring her along with us. Ferry building, another access point. Usage is to save, but still hoping that we get a little more memory in the near future.
Head on in.
Because we could certainly use some. Ferry location, not applicable. Afraid the ferry is no longer with us, it would seem.
Coast is clear.
Is it, though? Are you sure about that? There is this OVC terminal, so maybe that is true. Person's panicked. Oh. Great. Just great. Traverson Hall
So it's true.
is gone. Administration scrambles to explain sudden disappearance of historic high-rise landmark. Ah, so was this the landmark that the boxer was speaking about before?
Red, let's go. While we still can.
Whole lot from this Amelia Garber person who appears to be, sure, the associative editor, but one of, if not the only writer. Developing story. The ever-changing facade of Traverson Hall may be gone for good, as independent reports confirm the entire structure has vanished. A 100-square block area surrounding the structure's location has been designated offline pending investigation, OPI, as administrators conduct a thorough search of the premises. If you have information pertaining to this report, please contact your local administration. And as we were seeing, what was the number of people who were panicked? It was quite large. Quite large. And, you know, to be fair, I think a lot of people would panic if suddenly large buildings just completely disappeared in the blink of an eye. That might be the first time we've seen Red did not revise her comment at all. Perhaps she's getting more confident.
Used to be how many good drinking joints here? Caddies. Seaside. Cloud Alley.
Not anymore, though, I'm afraid.
All shut down.
Upgraded snapshot, 2 times clip size. So the... Oh, wait, was that the cheerleader or the snapshot that I was referring to? Hold on. Hold on a second. It's for scouting purposes? What are we dealing with here? That's where it is. Okay, is that the only snapshot? Yeah, I'm gonna undo these. I'm just looking around to see what we have. Are those 2 cheerleaders right on top of each other? They may be. So the snapshots are the ones that take the pictures of us, all paparazzi style. And I'm not actually sure if it deals damage when they do this, but they do cover part of our screen with pictures of us. And so I take that to mean this upgraded version, those pictures are twice as big and therefore may cover much, if not the entire screen when they do catch us. And so even if it's not directly dealing damage, it does mean that we're functionally blind or stunned or however you want to think of it when that happens. And so other enemies could very well follow up and damage us that way. So it's an indirect way of debilitating us. But as I said, that was largely just for scouting purposes. There are a lot of weeds over there. And so that may make sense to try to take those out so that we can't so that our enemies can't do as much healing. In fact, let's continue to scout a little bit. So we have a cheerleader that is currently shielding that snapshot. So that means we definitely don't want to go for the snapshot. We'd like to get rid of this cheerleader fairly quickly, but if we try damaging that, then the weeds might start to heal it, and that's no good. So I think that means, especially because the weeds are not currently shielded, they may actually be our first targets. More cheerleaders over here. And we could have Luna go after them, but I think we found, even for Luna, that it tends not to go very well when we have her attack things if there are still weeds left to heal. Because the weeds are pretty capable of dealing with those, of counteracting that damage fairly quickly. So I think we just try to get rid of these guys as soon as possible, and theoretically, that would do the trick. In which case, maybe we can follow up for, I mean, we are right on top of this cheerleader, so maybe we do that, and then a little tough to say for Luna. Can we get... Ooh, that's not very efficient. Can we get you over here and hitting this cheerleader late enough in the process that you'll take it out, but also, more importantly, that it's not going to get healed by these weeds? Like, is Red going to take out the weeds quickly enough for that damage not to get counteracted? We're about to find out. Looks like the timing just lined up for us.
More, huh?
I'm afraid so. Okay, so let's see. We are in this corner right now, so we may just want to go for the snapshot for the sake of going for the snapshot. But what else has spawned in here? Pluckers. Okay, so those guys are kind of nasty if we leave them alone, because they're going to rain those projectiles on us. So again, just doing this for scouting purposes, not actually going to necessarily jaunt in this exact manner. Okay, so still the cheerleaders here. Clucker. Okay, so it's not like there are additional weeds. That was what I was mostly looking for, was to see if we had additional things that we wanted to target immediately. The cheerleaders will shield stuff. It looks like for the most part they're shielding each other right now, which is kind of nasty. But if they're not shielding the Clucker, then I think that may actually be our preferred target here. We might be prioritizing that. Actually, both with Red and with Luna. Let's actually start with Luna. Ooh, darn. Only enough room for 2 barks. That's unfortunate. But Red... Oh, don't do that. But... And... Snipe a little bit with a single breach, but then we're probably going to need to follow up that. Let's not... And... Is that enough? Just barely, assuming all those things hit. So, we'll see. Hopefully we can take this Clucker out, and hopefully it does not get shielded by any of these cheerleaders before we do so. Otherwise, much of this damage might get mitigated. Ooh, that breach miss. That's not good. That's not what there's the snapshot. No, don't shield the Clucker. Don't protect it. I mean, I guess it can't get healed now that we've gotten rid of the worms, so there is that. But it's not what we want to see. So, I mean, now we definitely do need to go after the cheerleaders. No. It's not the direction in which we should be attacking enemies. Hold on. There you go. Really thought that was going to be a backstab. I mean, you'll be dead, so I suppose that's fine. But, oh, there's another snapshot. That's what's being shielded right now. Okay. It's like, I thought the other snapshot was all the way on the other side of the arena. I wasn't sure why it was able to get us. So, yeah, there is one next to both cheerleaders, it seems. Let's see if we can get 2 for 1 in that instance, and then maybe better to still jaunt that. Yeah, it's not really what I wasn't planning to go that far, but I guess we can still go for it. Wow, this AoE is huge. I know one of you is blocked, but... Slash protected. Give this a shot, though. Some enemies, yes. May not be hittable, but others are. Okay. So yeah, you see we've gotten hit by several of the photos, but those just blur or block our vision. They don't actually deal damage to us, because we're still on full HP right now. But, let's see. For you, I think you did get rid of one of the cheerleaders, right? So, you could try to get rid of this snapshot, or... Still have another cheerleader? We do, but Red can probably deal with that. So, it's shielding that Clucker. But I think you just go for this. Not quite enough. Snapshotters. They're tanky. They have a lot of HP. At least just enough HP to be significant. But, okay, so for Red... Let's get in here. Let's Spark to get rid of the cheerleader. And then this... then again, hold on. Let's Breach first. Because otherwise it's going to be hard to land a hit on that. Then we Spark. And then... At that point, in theory, the Clucker is no longer shielded. Try to land that Breach, though I'm skeptical that that's going to hit, since this is at the end of our chain of abilities, and at that point in time, the Clucker may have moved a bit, but we'll give it a shot. We'll go for it. And those enemies are dead, actually. Pretty much all those ones that we're going for are dead, so that's a good sign. And Luna just took out this one. So, actually, let's add that. I think there's just one other snapshot still hanging out in this corner. Two snapshots hanging out in this corner, and we did damage them at least a little bit. And Luna, unfortunately, is way over here. Oh, got a little bit stuck. Can't tell how much... Okay, now this is for science sake. How much, of our turn we lose if we have this inefficient running style. It doesn't seem bad, so I don't think it's the end of the world if we find ourselves getting caught up a little bit on obstacles, kind of like this. As long as it's not, like, excessive. That was a little bit excessive, but put it in worse. I mean, we do have to quite literally traverse the entire arena. That should do. In fact, didn't even need them after all, but there we go. Oh, and that gets us all the way up to 100, so we level up.
You feel that?
Nice. New functions. This is what we were seeing from one of those challenges before. Get. So how exactly does this work? Magnetic rearranging. Force target close to the user. Oh, okay. Stronger against distant targets. In terms of damage? Oh, that's very interesting. Upgrades. We opt to use it there. Make most functions pull targets out of position. And we now have the ability to use a passive ability, which we've not put on anything, because we still need a little more memory to make that happen, but draw in cells faster and from further away. Convenient, but not a huge difference maker most of the time, I would think. Then we have ping. This we've, I don't think, ever seen before. Rapid, efficient. They both cost 1 memory, so they are very efficient from that standpoint. Active slot, this one, fire rapid kinetic charges in a straight line. I mean, we might be looking for something to replace our breach, because although it is our highest damage skill, and it is really nice to be able to line up some attacks to potentially take out multiple enemies in one hit, for every time we do that, there are definitely also times that we just flat out whiff, because it is such a small and such a sensitive area of effect. Or target, you know what I mean. It's like kind of an AoE, kind of not. It's a straight line. But a reduced turn planning cost. Oh, and speed up most functions. I like that. I do like that. In fact, that might be the kind of thing that could work well on Breach to make up for some of its greatest weaknesses. In the passive slot, move much further in a single use of turn. So you can run around more. That could be useful if we found ourselves dropping Jaunt, which is kind of expensive, but it from a memory standpoint, but it gives us the ability to move even when our turn is still on cooldown, and it gives us a more efficient way to traverse when we are on turn. So at least one aspect of that we can sort of make up for if we were to put this ping in our passive slot, but the other aspect, not as much. So which one of these do we prefer to get? No pun intended. I'm intrigued by ping. I mean, I'm intrigued by both of them, but I think perhaps ping more than the other. So reducing the turn planning cost, I feel like could be a really big deal, and we could maybe justify dumping Jaunt if we were to use this in the passive slot, even the active slot. Be curious to see exactly how it works, because it could even be a replacement for Breach. I think we go for that. And we saw that Get was extremely sensitive when it comes to the targeting there, so maybe that's a reason not to go for it. Okay, then we also get an additional upgrade slot. Enables a secondary upgrade slot for an active skill. So previously we were only able to upgrade a given skill once, but now we can actually put 2 functions to support a single skill. So we could, for example, put the crash and also the ping, both on Breach or whatever other ability we wanted to put them on. Select a new upgrade slot. Oh. Not sure this makes that much of a difference, if it's purely just from a key binding standpoint, which one is getting the extra slot. So, I guess we'll just put it on the A ability, and then we'll just be mindful of which ability we have on A. It should be the one that we're using most aggressively. Then, another limiter we can put on. So the process will respawn from cells in much less time. Again, lots of things regarding cells. User will lose access to 6 memory or more. Functions may be uninstalled. What is this or more? I mean, is it going to be 20 memory? Because that's a big difference. You know? I feel like you could plan around losing a chunk of memory if you knew exactly how much it was going to be, but this whole uncertainty aspect does make that a little more difficult to work around, but I think we might still go for that. I mean, again, I don't really anticipate we're going to be using the limiters all that much, if at all, but they exist. Okay.
See this? This is what the Camerata want our town to be.
That. Just a blank, white wall. I think this is the spot we came from, but... Is there anything over in this corner? Doesn't look like it. The battle began right around here. And did the voice just tell us we've been this way? Yeah, there's the terminal. Our sword friend. Okay. That is not a door that we can go through. So we're heading further into this especially processed area, it seems. Cipher. Translation. Stop.
I'll miss this place.
High-rise district. I suppose that's our next stop.
Going up. Should be able to get up through here.
Okay. That is not how we access that. So, we do have access to a new ability, and we may have additional information about some of our functions. For the most part, you need to switch up the way in which you're using them, so unless we change help to a support ability or whatnot, then we're probably not going to learn more about help. But we could still inspect the ones that we've not really seen much of at all, like this.
Enter Highford went to the country. Precinct did a press conference and everything.
You know, basically nothing about him because we haven't really used this function at all, but psychology and deduction are the selections, I believe. The future can be parsed. So I was a little bit intrigued by ping. Our memory is full, so yeah, we can't use it unless we replace one of our other, or uninstall one of our other functions to make room for it. I was a little intrigued by seeing if we get rid of Breach. I mean, there are some circumstances in which it has been great. Other circumstances in which it's not been very useful. Our most expensive one remains Help, actually. We dump you. Then suddenly, we do have a fair bit of memory to spare. So much so that we could make ping an active ability. Oh. Okay, I was gonna say, so looking at that damage, not a very enticing number that we're seeing there. 15, but shots per second 4, which would suggest that perhaps, although it looks like it's 15 damage, assuming all those shots hit, it's really more like 60? But Breach was our best single target skill. Tell you what we might want to do. Actually, let's keep Breach. What I'm going to do is, rather than removing that, I'm going to remove Load. Because this is currently supporting our Spark, giving it a little bit more damage, but mostly giving it extra AoE, which has not been a huge factor. Or at least hasn't seemed like it's been a huge factor. And that does save a lot of memory. So I think that could be better spent elsewhere. And maybe that means... What does ping do in a secondary spot again? I thought it was something that sounded intriguing. Yeah, reduce the turn planning cost and speed up most functions. That's certainly an option. But now the passive slot is also relevant because that is available to us, so we can become undetectable and faster after eliminating targets. That sounds really good. Being undetectable, giving us some invulnerability after taking people out while we're still recovering from turn. That seems like the kind of thing we'd very much like to do. But I think we do that. And then that means we could use Switch and just load up on help so that it has stun. Well, if it has stun, then we probably don't want it to stun and turn enemies, because then the enemies that are becoming friends can't do anything for a short period of time, which is probably counterproductive. So we probably want to switch that up, in truth. Which means... What's our support? It's Crash. Which causes most functions to stun and disrupt targets. Do we still want that on you, or do we perhaps put it on something else? I don't think Breach is going to make the most sense, actually. I think it might make more sense to put it on... Oh, no, not on Jaunt. Well, actually, Jaunt would be kind of interesting. Jaunting around, dashing around, basically, and stunning enemies in the process. There's something to be said for that, as purely a support ability, but I was originally thinking you put it on Spark here, because Spark does, by default, already have a pretty solid AoE, even after we got rid of some of it, and so that means you can stun multiple targets from 1.6 seconds. That feels like that might be a nice way to give ourselves some crowd control, not only from a damage standpoint, but from an actual crowd control, like stop enemies from crowding around you standpoint. So I think we'll give that a shot. That means we didn't quite fit in ping, but we did manage to squeeze in one of the abilities that we were hoping to manage to get in, that being Switch, specifically on help.
All patched up.
So it does mean that we'd probably be looking to use help a little differently, rather than what we've been doing thus far, which is mostly just run up to an enemy, deal as much damage as possible, and just use that as a way to try to eliminate enemies. Now we might be having our doggo friend run up, hit an enemy once to turn them, run to another enemy, hit them once to turn them. Meanwhile, they can do that on one side of the area, while we'll be attacking to kill enemies on the other side of the area. So I think that might be our new plan. And, oh, for some reason I thought the way up was over there, but it is not. It is over here. I think I remember this part.
Hope this works. Next stop, high rise. Something's wrong. Get ready.
Yeah, because it's not that simple as just taking the elevator up. I'm not necessarily sure that the weed is an enemy that we are terribly concerned about turning. I mean, does it heal us? If it does heal us, then that's actually kind of nice. I wouldn't mind that, but I think we'll just take it out. Okay, well, bear in mind that Luna here will switch enemies, even when we're not in turn mode, if she just bites them, barks at them. So that works well. Getting the AoE on a bark that switches enemies is an idea that has just occurred to me. I feel like that could be tempting. It may require a little more memory, although I think we put the AoE. Did we put the AoE on one of our skills, or did we dump it all together? Might have just put it on a different skill, but in which case we could reallocate it. Anyways, that's an aside for the moment, because of course we can't switch that now. But, Luna? Actually, technically speaking, you should be hitting that first. As if you're blocked? That's not cool. Please don't be blocked. Okay, so that's theoretically going to switch the creep. And that other creep is also switched, which means red, I guess you can destroy an enemy that is switched, because otherwise you don't have much else to do. So, sure? I guess that's what you'll do here. Get over here. I know, let's do this first. Why is not saying any damage next to breach? Is it because you're a friend? Cannot harm friend. Oh. Well, that changes things. So red's just gonna chill here. Is basically what you're saying. Okay, now that creep is no longer friendly. Okay, maybe it's not all fine and dandy. Just never-endingly charming enemies, because if we can't damage them while they're charmed, then at times, if it's the only enemy, we're just going to be fighting them to a standstill. So maybe it's not perfect, but it is still an intriguing option. So I think we will continue, and we are dealing damage when we switch them at least. I feel like we do that, and then by the time you get over here, maybe they'll be... they probably will still be switched, or not have much time remaining left on it, but... Let's see. Red now? Now red. Definitely still want to get rid of the weed. And by that I mean, we definitely still want to get rid of the weed. And I think that's it for the time being. We're going to need to wait a little bit for these guys to become uncharmed, and then they'll get charmed again. Okay. Let's see. Did we lose Luna? No, Luna's there. Luna's still here. Okay, so Luna... What do we like to prioritize charming here? The other useful thing for Luna is, because she can pick up... She just automatically attack this when she gets closer, because it really felt like it was... Even a sound effect like that was an animation she was going into. But that turns you... While we're at it. Probably just do this. And do... No, not two of them. Again, it's the sound effect. Okay, the barks... Oh, are the barks more expensive now that we put the charm on? I think they are. Yeah. Previously we were getting 3, but now it looks like we... Unless we do no movement at all, we're probably going to be limited to 2. And then red. So that means for you, it's mostly this creep back here in the top corner. Should be jaunting. That is not exactly the world's best jaunt. That's a little bit better. So then, could, and probably should, try to get the backstab. Like that. There we go. That's more like it. Theoretically enough to take you out, but just in case, we'll do that. Okay, lots of charmed enemies. Ooh, you did hit me for a second there. Luna is gone for the time being. May mean we can't use her when we're in turn mode. Maybe we just take these guys out. Without Luna? Yeah, maybe. Maybe that's right. While we're at it, why not just immediately jaunt behind them? For the backstab? Is that technically behind you? I don't think it is. That isn't either. Slightly different angle? Blah. That stinks. We could try getting another breach in there, but I'm not sure that's gonna hit. In fact, none of those things hit. What if we just get Luna back? Oh, why is she hiding over there? That's weird. Let's deliberately just turn one of them so that they actually attack each other. Luna, you weren't really supposed to attack both of them. But, I mean, you could just go back and forth, getting one at a time. I guess that is a thing. It does theoretically work. So yeah, very cramped one, and perhaps an unexpected encounter there, although I did remember that was there. Just learning about the ups and downsides of having that many enemies turn. Welcome home. So, is this reason enough to switch? Do we feel like we've kind of messed too much with the whole help thing and converting people into friends thing? Maybe we tried a little bit longer, but it is perhaps a little bit questionable.
Oh. Heal.
Oh, what is this? That does not look like a friendly dog. That looks like an angry dog. And we do not have our dog out at the moment. What if we try to get our dog out as quickly as possible? And we get this dog converted. So that we go double dog? Obviously, that is the only correct answer. Okay, then fortunately we have a bunch of weeds lined up. And I would like to believe... Oh, no, I didn't want to jump that much. I'd like to believe... No. Fine, we'll walk it. I'd like to believe we can get rid of all of them.
Stay.
It is staying right now.
No.
Not for long, though. Not for long, though. Nope. So once it gets turned, we can't damage it anymore once it gets switched. So we should probably try to load up on as much damage as quickly as possible with red. Might even mean daunting to the other side, reaching for backstab, and then doing some of this. And maybe deliberately making sure that Luna just kind of chills and doesn't turn them just yet. It very much wants to go after us, it seems. Okay, once again, Luna, if you could just, like, chill for a second, because when we're 1v1 like this, the switching of enemies does not really help us. Because then we just can't hurt it. And it's the only thing that is even possible to hurt. So it kind of defeats the whole purpose. There we go, though.
Bad boy.
Bad boy.
Let's keep moving.
Right.
Cleaning up the streets.
More enemies. What do we have here? Another access point, yes, but this looks different. Pyre is Overlook. Dreams inspired 336. I would love to see if this goes up to 337 once we do it.
Used to be able to see the bay from here.
I can't tell. Oh, hold on. So we may have lost our voice, our speaking voice, but Red can still hum. A little bit of a workaround. All right. Can we go? We can go up here. In fact, there's a terminal up here. Wait, hold on. There's a terminal there.
Might as well stop in.
Paris Apartments. Okay, so this is one of those things where, once again, it's a question of, is this technically the quote-unquote correct way? Or is this technically the quote-unquote correct way?
Terminal on the corner back there.
There's at the very least this terminal.
So the word is out.
Process spreads to 66% of Cloudbank. Unexplained outbreak causes mass relocation efforts across the city.
If anybody's left to hear it.
Designated urgent. The entire western half of Cloudbank is now offline as central administration scrambles to contain the threat and relocate citizens to designated safe zones. Casualty rates are unknown, though missing person reports crossed 100,000 as of this writing. Authorities denied foreknowledge of the epidemic and urged citizens to travel east as soon as possible and to register relocation requests at their local OVC terminals. I mean, I guess we can try to see if this is publicly available, then maybe we can give additional warnings to people by leaving a comment.
Whole town's being held ransom.
Then again, the comment is submitted for moderation. Is it even going to get approved by the mods? Alright, why don't we check out the apartments? We'll go this way.
Best view in town.
Could double back, theoretically. Apartment 3. Tenant Alias Red. This is our apartment.
It's strange coming here. Like this. Can't imagine what it's like for you. Well, at least Junction Jan's delivered.
Hey, we got the
Superhero
pizza.
Deluxe, loaded for bear. Flatbread delivery still going strong. Not so bad when it's cold. Not that I know anymore.
Ooh.
Help yourself with good. Locked yourself out. How are you gonna... Oh.
Yeah. I'm afraid so.